Welcome everybody to today's webinar. Today is part 2 of our Revit Structure webinar series. The topic for today is Revit Customisation, what is possible? We'll be covering a lot today. We will try and keep it within around probably 40 minutes. So thank you everybody for giving us your time. I'm sure you'll take a lot away from today. So look, today we'll be starting off with a bit of an understanding of why we would actually customise Revit and what benefits that can provide to organisations such as yours. We'll run through what can be customised. Look, there's really, it's as long as a piece of string. There's a lot of customisation options, but we'll talk you through some of the really key customisations that we know firms like you guys can really benefit from. So we'll run you through some of that. And we will also provide a demonstration of that for you. So we've already built a lot of these customizations, so we will be able to demonstrate them for you today. And then finally, we'll just be summarizing a whole lot of additional customization options for you. So we're delving into areas such as Dynamo and scripting but when in that section. So if you guys aren't familiar with that, then yeah, stick around for that part of the webinar because I'm sure you'll be able to get a lot from that. My name is Ben Hipsley. I am hosting here today. Actually, sorry, I'll just end that poll. Thank you everybody for your answers. Sorry, that was on another screen. I forgot we had it running. Thanks a lot for those answers there. Just having a good look through. Okay, yep, good. My name is Ben Hipsley. I am supported here today by Asif Khan. Asif is our structural application engineer. He has a lot of experience in the industry, done a lot of these customizations himself, used them in real world applications. So he's a great resource to have to present the topic here for us today. So look, I'll kick things off with why we want to customize Revit and why it can really be a game changer for engineering firms. So firstly, customization, it leads to an increased productivity. So you can automate repetitive tasks, you can streamline modeling workflows, and you can really tailor the interface of Revit to match how your team works. So you reduce time that's usually spent on manual processes, and you're freeing your team's time to focus on design and problem solving. Secondly, it can bring an improved consistency and standards. So you can create customized Revit templates, title blocks, and families, ensuring that every project you work on, it's following your own documentation standards right from the start of the project. So this really reduces the rework, it really simplifies QA checks, and it makes handover easier for both internal and then your external stakeholders. Thirdly, you get enhanced accuracy and quality control. So by embedding your design rules, your QA processes, and even compliance checks inside your Revit environment, that can either be through Dynamo scripts or some custom parameters, you can catch those errors very early on, you can reduce your clashes, and overall you can just improve that design reliability. So next, Revit Customization, it supports better collaboration and coordination. So through tailored work sets, views, and naming conventions, you can improve that communication across all your disciplines, while further integrations into platforms such as the Autodesk Construction Cloud can even further streamline that model sharing and updating and co-authoring between your teams. So fifth, customization enables stability across projects. So whether you're working on a small, say, structural upgrade or a large-scale infrastructure project, having that consistent, scalable setup within Revit just makes it so much easier to train new staff, to manage large model sets and adapt quickly to your client and your project requirements. And finally there, look, it's at the end of the day, it gives you a firm that competitive advantage. So firms that are investing in this customization, they're delivering projects faster, more accurately, and with fewer areas. And in competitive marketplace, which we're in today, this can go such a long way to winning more work and delivering more efficiently for your clients. So whether you're just a small consultancy or you're a large multidisciplinary practice, investing in customizing your Revit environment is just such a powerful way to enhance your workflows and results. The next part of today's presentation, I'm going to throw across to Asif. So Asif will be showing us a lot of the existing customizations that we've built here at Civil Survey Solutions. We have our own Revit structural templates, so it already contains a lot of these customizations. We're more than happy for people to get in touch with us. We can let you know how you can access a lot of these customizations and a lot of these templates. So without further ado, I'll hand across to Asif. You can take it from here.
All right, thank you, Ben. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the webinar, Revit Customization, What is Possible. My name is Asif Hossain Khan. I'm the technical presenter today. I work as a structural application engineer and drafter in CSS. It would be better if somebody would have asked me, what is not possible in customizing Revit? Uh, then probably I could have made my list shorter. Usually, I see Revit customization in three core layers. The top surface of the customization I see as a customization for CAD standards for your company, then custom family creation, and the deepest customization is possible with C# scripting or Dynamo or any other suitable programming language that Revit supports. With custom script, you can create your own tool, set up automation work, make your repetitive task done faster. And honestly speaking, in the deepest level, there is no limit of customization. Now, in today's presentation, I'll be scratching on the surface and a bit deeper about the Revit customization, but we are not digging too deep this time. That could be the part of the next another day. Okay, now without further delay, let's get started. Great. Okay, great. Okay, as you know, grid is one of the most important part of the structural project to set up on-site and column layout. Revit default template comes with a limited number of grid head. One of them I have shown in your screen. Sorry, that's yeah. Sorry, it's a grid. Yeah. I was a bit confused. Yeah, grid. One of the show it today. Over on the image at the right, you can see over here, and I have also created some more custom grid head and included in our CSS template, where you can customize the graphics plus even font plus color. Many different way we can do this. Now, one of the example you can see over here where the architect's grid. There is a, I'd like to explain about this example, like you have some architectural grid and you want to also establish some structural grid at the same time, but you may need a different graphic because you don't want to clash with the architect grid to the structural grid. And again, another level of customization is possible when you put the custom parameter on the grid head, which is shown over here, and you can put the name like it's a part 2 of the structure or any part of the structure you're talking about. All right, on the next sheet, on the next. Okay. Can you go back one step? Okay, great. Okay, perfect. Now we are going to the next slide, which is, yeah, Ben, can you? Yeah, next slide is the level. So in case of level, Revit default level comes with a very limited number of level head, as you can see over here. There are 2 to 3 levels are given in your custom Revit default templates, probably. If you want, you can customize the level head as much as you want. Over here, as you can see, I created some graphic to identify structural level head with a different style and fonts. You can further customize according to the CAD standard, and I have already included these in our CSS Revit template. All right, so this is one of the important stuff to talk about. Like we have been working in a project. Here we linked up the architect's model and then we copied the architect's level. Now, after a few minutes of head scratching, we figured out because of the same graphic and the same title text font was used, we couldn't be able to identify whether the level was copied or not. And after a few minutes of head scratching, when we dragged the level head away from the architect's level head, we figured out, oh yes, we have made it. So this is one of the example why you need a custom level head for your structural project. Probably you don't want to overlap with your architect's level. All right. Now elevation marker. Okay, Revit default template comes with very limited number of elevation head. As you can see here, only 2 elevation markers are given. I have included some elevation markers in CSS structural template and also created some custom elevations. This is often convenient that you use different elevation marker for south, north, and west elevation, and use different marker for your internal elevation, such as if you're creating any kind of grid elevation or anything, so that you can identify and differentiate between which grid level marker, which elevation marker was used where. Now, this is one of the example we have been working on the real scale project. We use different grid head to identify different part of the structure, which is merged over here. Plus, we use different elevation marker to also represent that how things are going on. All right, on the next slide. Yeah, Ben, can you move on the next slide, please? Yeah, on the next slide, it is dimensioning. Yeah, dimensions. Yeah. Default dimension comes with black color only, depending on what template you're using, the default template I'm talking about, then this tick mark could be a bit different. It could be arrow, it could be ticked, it could be something different. But if you want, you can even customize. As you can see on the right side of the screen, you can make it colorful. You can change the font. You can use the precision. You can use those tick mark as an arrow, open-headed, field dot plus boxed. Different options is available over here if you want to customize. And another thing I want to mention, on the right side of the image, as you can see, my dimension is reading some sort of center line of the object. And usually, Revit default dimension doesn't come like this. You can customize as I have done this. And these are included in the CSS custom template. All right, next slide. Here, this is an interesting thing to talk about. If your structure or your member is anyhow curved, then you can do a bit of trick to do the dimensioning so that people who are in a manufacturing or in a construction, they can locate the position. Usually in the center of this slide, as you can see in this image, we use ordinate dimension method. But for example, if I go on the left side of the slide and this image, it's really hard to put any ordinate dimension method to identify a curved shape like this. So in this case, I have to completely create a new custom dimensioning system that can read within a different spacing, and that can read from the dimension of the center line of the curve from the reference line. So that's another level of customization that we are talking about. All right, I'll move to the next slide, which is hatch pattern. Great. As you can see, again, Revit default template comes with a very limited number of hatch pattern, and one of the important hatch pattern is missing here, which is concrete, which I have included over here in our custom template, and I have marked out which we included here, and some example on the right image I have presented to you. If you have some different thing in your mind, you can also create your different hatch pattern or field region, whatever you'd like to say. All right, moving to the next slide. And there it is. Again, line styles are also limited. Now you can create your own line styles. As you can see on the second image, it was not giving me so much choice to show all the line style that I have created. I have to just take a snapshot and present it to you. But as you can see, you can customize your line style as far as you want. Now, some of the examples, like here is a playground example where I have to show the fall zone, and the fall zones are shown in a very thicker line style. Plus, if sometimes we need to identify the floor outline or the roof outline when you're working on any structural project, then you can use your custom line style to represent them. Now you have the choice of drawing the line and then right-clicking and changing the element level, color and pattern or anything. But that's a kind of hassle. Just imagine in this playground structure, you have so much line drawing, and if you have to select one by one, and then you have to change one by one by the pattern, by the color, by the line weight, it's going to be a too long, time-consuming process. So it's better to create one line style, then you can just click it and done. Now at the bottom of the screen, this big image you can see, we have been working on a bridge project, and there was a pipeline running down under the foundation, we realized, and we have to use custom line, a bit of thicker thicker line to represent that there's something going on under the foundation, so that people can understand and they can make the decision how to make the change. All right, I'll be moving to the next slide, which is section heads. Revit default template comes with these 3 section heads only. If you want, you can customize as much as you want. Right here, I have made another default custom section head, as you can see at the first, and the rest are a bit of traditional style of section head, like we used to say AA, BB, or ZZ from one end to another. Now, one of the thing I have customized in Civil Service Solution is that if you use these 4 at the bottom, then these 4 can be directly called on the view title as a section Y1-Y1. If you change anything over the section marker, that is automatically gonna come over here as a section. For example, you're changing it to AA or MM, then it will come directly on the section A-A or section M-M. So that's a level of customization you can also work on. All right, I'll be moving to the next slide, which is symbol. Yep. Only 2 symbols or 3 symbols are given in the Revit default template. I have already put some sort of stamp symbol where you can write down issued for approval or issued for construction. That's very important. If you are submitting your drawing to council, they always try to see some sort of stamping on the drawing. So you can make your own style, or you can just request a structural template from them. I also created a bit of stylized north symbol plus some bar graph. All right, these all are included in our CSS template. Okay, I'll be moving to the next slide, which is tags. Yes, tags can be customized as well. On the left side, on the left image, as you can see, different item was called in different tag numbers, and those tag and you can also create shared parameter with the tag, and those parameter can be called in your schedule table. As a result, those sequence can be come up on your item number or any different column that you want to talk about. It could be a marking, it could be some sort of custom parameter from your company standard. We also developed something which is on the right side. That's the Revit, that's the rebar tagging. Now, I tried to do some rebar tagging over here. As you can see on the plan view, it's an industry standard kind of representation. You just show one rebar and then call them by the rebar tag, as you see that from where to where it is extended, and at the intersection, we put a small dot and drag it as a tagging coming here, say number of rebars, what kind of rebar it is, plus spacing, and if you have any marking, that's at the end of the rebar, and you have complete control on the customization. Now, if you cut a section, as you can see, these when a rebar is cut, those are represented as a dot mark. So you can also customize them with an open dot. Series of open dots can be identified on the rebars and then connected line at the end of the lines, you can just tell them how many numbers of the bar and types of bar as well. So that's the kind of customization you can do. It depends on your company standard. All right, next slide I'll be going, which is a table. Now, table can be created, can be those are coming as a schedule by the category. As you can see, the custom structural column schedule plus foundation schedule and framing schedule as an example. And there could be some sort of blank line between the table header and the row header and the row data. You can minimize these if you want. That's just easy to do. Plus, I'd like to talk about something like, okay, before that, I'd like to say that you also have the choice of customizing the font style. You can also put some sort of color if you want. As you can see over here, it's up to your choice, your company standards. Now, one thing I'd like to talk about, that it's not robust like Excel, but if you use the schedule key in the top section of the slide, as you see, if you, instead of building components, if you use schedule keys, you have a flexibility of using table as that we use in Excel, but you have to create your own columns one after another. That's not that intuitive, but it can be helpful in certain situation. Right, moving to the next slide, which is, yeah. And also one thing to mention, that if you're linking any file, those items can be scheduled as well, though it's not a customization, but I just gave you put it as an example that probably it could be customized if you want as per your need. Now, last thing I would like to talk about the table, which is multi-category schedule. Now, if you set up multi-category schedule, every component, doesn't matter which category it is falls in, everything will be coming into one table. Now, one of the downfall of this system, that if you sort out by the type name, it will Revit will always sort out from the numeric value first, and then it will go to the alphabetic number. Now, in this regard, one example, I've been working in different companies, and I just created this example for you, where let's say you have an anchor, and the name of the anchor comes with anchor M12. Then the beam name comes with beam something, then column C with something. Now, if you try to put it in a multi-category schedule with the type name sorted, then the anchor is going to come up at the top of the list, and the rest are going to come up at the bottom. Now, few engineering firms don't like it. Few engineering firms say, okay, can we just put the structural member first, and then the rest of the item at the bottom. In this kind of case, you have to create a custom parameter which will be dictating that which as a sorting facility, which will be telling you that which item comes at the top, which item goes at the bottom. Then you have to renumber, then it will come as a reorder, and things will be coming the way you want. So that is another part of the customization. If you want, you can do it. Right, moving to the next slide, is the sheet and title block. On the left image, this is the default title block coming from Autodesk. You can customize. As you can see, I have developed 3 different custom title block, which is included in our CSS custom template. And again, it is worthy to mention, you can change the font, you can change the color if you want. It's completely up to you. How do you want to create your title block? Right, next slide, it will be, okay, keyboard customization. That's a very important part, because if you know where the keyboard customization, if you can do the keyboard customization, you can just type in and the tool will be coming on your mouse pointer very quickly, instead of going to the interface tab by tab, looking for, oh, okay, this is located on that side of the interface. other tool located on the other side. That sometimes may kill the productivity. Instead, if you use keyboard shortcut, it's just lightning fast, and you can work with very fast pace in your company. Right, next one is view title. Revit default view title comes like this, a circle. In the middle, it's basically detail number. Yeah, and also there is a there is a line over there which is representing that this is the title, view title. If you want, you can change the title as I have included over here. Some view titles are very stylized, stylish view title I put over here. As you can see, if you have something different in your mind, you can even design your own view title graphics and put it over here, and that can be represented in your drawing. Now, one thing I already have mentioned in the section heads slide, that if you are using this kind of arrow-headed section, then your section marking, for example, here Y1, can be called the view title as I have shown here. If you change this, let's say you change this to D, then it will be called in the view title as a section DD. And this customization is also possible. You just have to put your drawing, put your view in a drawing sheet and just swap the view title from one to another, and there it is, you'll get it. Okay, the next type, okay, this is the second layer, I'll say, which is custom family. Now, there could be a lot of possibilities over here. One of the many examples I have shown over here, this could be beam, this could be column, any kind of section it could be. So different style, different kind of surface pattern. Some are tapered, some are trapezoidal, plus slotted. Many different style you can create. There is basically no limit for the custom families. Now, I'd like to talk about few custom families on the next slide. I have created and developed here, which is Australian Standard Super T pre-stressed beam. So we already included all the standard Super T in our custom template. And also, as you can see in the middle, overall flange width can be controlled with the instance parameter, plus some hogging capability. If you just type in how much hogging is going on, you also have that flexibility. You can also type 0 when you're using in your project, it will become flat. Also, there it is as an example. We are working on a bridge project, and it's a curved bridge with some sort of tilting going on. You can also use this as this model is basically made as a beam. So just 2-click, job done. All right, moving to the next slide, which is a double tapered beam. Yep, Revit Australian content doesn't come with something like that. Probably it has something, but I have just extended it to make it more flexible, like the parameter setup, as you can see over here on the left image. And you have the capability of tapering not only the height, but also the width. And in addition, top flange, bottom flange, you can taper it a different way. Now, it depends on your situation, how do you want to use it. Plus some stiffener visibility. You can see that was cropped out. The first one was saying stiffener visibility front, second one stiffener visibility bottom, and the tick mark was given. If you want to put the stiffener, you can put it, or you can just take it out. And that was given as an instance parameter so that you can control at every instance of the beam. All right, next slide is, I believe, pile foundation. Yes, already you can see a lot of pile foundation was created, and we already developed here in CSS, included in this template. Also, some extra functionality I have put over here on the right side of the slide. You can see, which is pile cap to pile clearance. If you just type in, then it will create a clearance between the pile cap and pile. As you can see at the top image is 150, at the bottom 350, and shape and size is automatically adjusted and changing extra functionality was given where the piles are connected by the lines. You can turn on and off the line if you want. Now, the reason I put it, sometimes it's convenient to put the align dimension. If you just turn on those lines, you can just stick your dimension on those points and the dimension will work fantastic. Now, without this line, it may be a bit difficult depending on how do you design your pile or customize your pile and lay out on this 3-pile system. All right, and also some parameters are given over here, as you can see on the left side, on the left bottom of the screen. So you can change pile diameter, length, and length basically length of the group, not individual, but we are planning to put something different, like we haven't made anything slanted pile in a pile cap. So possibly in future version, we'll be bringing some slanted piles that can be controlled easily with some parameters. All right, moving to the next slide, which is trapezoidal section. Okay, this is basically a beam. I have made it. You have the flexibility of tapering the side walls of the beam. As you can see, I created a bunch of like 300H into 250W, 0D. It means it's completely vertical. So this 0D basically is just a notation to let you know that if you create, I already set up the angle constraint. You can just type in angle and the beam will come up exactly the size and shape you're looking for. So you can just type the name in a descriptive way so that you don't get distracted. Now, example of use, it could be flow edge beam that we normally we see in our residential buildings. If you're working on residential building, you can just use it as an edge beam. And if you take a cross section and use the same material, it's gonna show you as a monolithic custom. All right, moving to the next slide, which is Australian timber. Now, Autodesk content pack, basically Australian content pack comes with some timber, but I found those not matching with the timber that we are looking that we use on in our day-to-day life. Now, if you go to the different marketplace, you'll be seeing some standard size, which I have included in our CSS custom template. As you can see on the left image, these are the numbers and markings I have done. Now, if you put it in your 3D Revit environment and cut a cross section, I made a bit of old schooling type of representation where there is a cross mark on the cross section, and if you're just doing not hidden line preview, it's just a setup of the how the preview is gone. If you do some shaded preview, you will be able to see some sort of grain like this. And if you're working on any timber project, like building structure, residential building, you can use this as a column or beam to make your frame like this. I just put an example at the bottom. All right, moving to the next slide. And I guess this is the end of my part, and I'm going to hand over this presentation to Ben.
Thanks, Asif. That was fantastic. It's great to see, what some of the options are in terms of customizing and really tailoring Revit, to what's required to really make your organization or your deliverables, match what's required. So what we'll look at next is more delving into the Dynamo and the scripting tools within your Revit workflow. So we see on the right-hand side there, I've just included Asif's previous representation of the customization options through that pyramid. So Asif has shown us what's possible with customizing Revit to meet your CAD standards, as well as some examples of custom families that can be created. But that's just the top layers of customization. It does not really touch on what can be achieved once we move into the Dynamo and the scripting side of the customization. That's where we can really see the major benefits and the opportunities for those real valuable efficiency gains. So you might compare this to, say, Lisp routines in AutoCAD, for example, that I'm sure have benefited, many of you that are listening today. So what we want to emphasize here is that if you're doing something repetitive or manual in Revit, it can likely be automated. So whether that's model cleanup, it could be QA checks, it could be documentation, even more complex geometry tasks. Dynamo will allow you to build powerful tools that work exactly the way you need them to. So look, as I said, it's endless what you could do, but as a few examples from what sort of we've worked on in the industry so far, so we can automatically place reinforcement in concrete elements based on the dimensions and the rules within those elements. So that can save hours of manual modeling time and ensures consistency across your whole project. You can also generate complete drawing sets automatically, so plans and sections and elevations per level or element type that's already ready for annotation. So there's no more manually setting up views or naming sheets. We can then export all of the structural schedules in Excel, or sorry, to Excel in bulk with just a single button. So that can be incredibly useful for reporting, for QA, and for client deliverables. You can do that already, but it's a one by one. So if you've got dozens of schedules within your drawings, exporting them one by one can be somewhat cumbersome, but there is the option to build a tool where you can just export them all in one go. So model management tasks like deleting all your unused views and families can be automated as well. So that keeps your files clean, lean, and efficient, especially towards the end of a project. That can be particularly important if you're providing your model to your client and you don't want a whole lot of your internal IP, families, things like that going along with that model. Then there's a simple cleanup tool that we can create that can be run at the ends to really clean that project up for you. On the QA side, imagine being able to instantly highlight all the beams and columns that aren't properly joined in your model, or you can flag unsupported slabs. So that gives your team just that visual check before coordination meetings or before any deliverables. So, and yes, we can even build routines that will highlight the concrete elements that might be missing rebar. So that helps just ensure reinforcement's not missed before the documentation goes out. So look, these are just a few examples, but really, if you can describe the task to us, there's a good chance that we can automate it for you. That's the real power of Dynamo and scripting. So you can see there at the bottom that it really unlocks the ability to shape the software to match your workflows rather than changing your workflows to suit the software. So if you would like to discuss these options anymore, look, get in touch with us. We're happy to sit down with you and your team. We can discuss your existing workflows. We can provide advice and recommendations of what can be customized to really enhance the software and tailor it for you. Okay, thank you very much for everybody's attendance here today. You can see my email address there and other ways to get in contact with me. Please do so for those of you who were questioning or asking us, sorry, about that structural template. Otherwise, look, I know everybody here, your time is valuable. I really thank you for your time today. Hopefully you've learnt some good concepts of what's available in terms of customizing Revit. Please get in touch if you have any further questions. All those customizations we provided there today, we can certainly work with you on or work for you on developing. So please get in touch if you need to. Otherwise, I hope you all have a great rest of the afternoon. Thanks again.